What's up, ladies, gentlemen, everybody? Hey, it's Tuesday. It's election day. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, fescoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. But I am here with Robert Karplis, WWE Creative _ish. Happy Tuesday, Robert. Happy election day. Oh boy, we're in for quite the wrestling storylines, I would say.
There is no happy. There is no joy. There is no joy in Mudville. What a day to be here talking wrestling as I am doom scrolling and binge watching 24-hour news cycles and trying to remember all the stuff I intentionally forgot when I took stats class.
Isn't that rewarding?
I got to be honest. Steve Kornacki doesn't have anything to worry about with me taking his job. There's a lot of math. There's a lot of maps. There's a lot of conversation about Maricopa County and your godforsaken state that for some reason can't make up its mind one way or the other.
I don't know.
Like, I get it. You guys can't pick a cheesesteak, so you can't pick. This may be the episode I curse. I apologize to our sponsors of it. Okay. I hate humanity today. But maybe that'll change come tomorrow. Or maybe I will be on my way to Aruba.
Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take it.
Jamaica. No. See, Aruba takes U.S. currency. It's out of the path of most hurricanes. It's a beautiful island. I could make that work. I could still do the show from there.
Do you think they got good Wi-Fi there, Robert?
I'm sure they have wonderful. Yes, unlike the villains of Xfinity who like to screw with my Wi-Fi here. We'll say hi to some of the heroes, some of the folks joining us live. E says Miz and Wyatt 6, some great storytelling. Agreed. Johnny Disco, good morning, R&I. Looking for coverage of anything but the election. Maybe some Billy in the CW. Oh, wait, NXT took care of that.
Sorry.
Dre Owens, I voted that R&I gets the best podcast for wrestling award. How about just in general? Take that, WTF with Mark Maron.
Yeah, right.
Take that. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, so I don't know. Hey, Jeff Henninger made it in time for the live show. Wrestling Old Head. Oh, happy day. Hey, guys, going to be in and out today. Stay safe and go vote. And, guys, if you're looking to be in and out, no, I'm holding it back. And lastly, it would not be an election without someone saying this. But Lou4237 says, don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Yes, that's right.
Well done, all of you. You guys understood the assignment. You knew why we are here today, and we're here today to talk about a pre-taped episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yes, we are, Robert. Yes, we are. Hailing from Saudi Arabia again after Crown Jewel, and it kicks off with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Liv gloating that she took out Rhea Ripley yet again. She does not have a number one contender for her title, and she's happy about it. But lo and behold, out comes Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They won their titles. They retained them. And this all translated into a battle royal, for a women's battle royal going down. Anna Pierce got involved and said, we will figure out a number one contender. And we had a little story unfold between Liv and Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill as they got eliminated unceremoniously. Well, not unceremoniously, but with underhanded means. And it ended up being Io Sky winning the Battle Royal and becoming the new number one contender. What did you think of this opening segment and the match, sir, Robert?
Man, there was a lot to unpack in that opening segment. We knew going into Crown Jewel weekend, there were reports that Raquel Rodriguez had suffered an injury. I believe it's, I think, an orbital bone. Was with whatever it is. Rhea Ripley. That's gonna suck for her. So they needed to pivot to a new challenger. Not only did you get a new challenger for Liv, you kind of got 3 new challengers because you've now got her enmeshed with what's going on with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, who are the tag champions. As tag champions, you can transport from Raw to SmackDown through a forbidden door. Or maybe it's a mystery vortex. I don't know. Whatever it is, they need opponents. So the Raquel and Liv, Shawn Michaels, Diesel pairing going after those women's tag titles absolutely works. I think that's a really interesting story, and it played out well into the battle royal. It's how do you get Jade Cargill and Bianca out of a battle royal? It sounds like Pope's in a Volkswagen, but that's not the joke we're going with here. But the fact that Raquel and Liv eliminated them, they now have an issue going forward. You clearly are now going to pivot to Io Sky, who's a fantastic placeholder challenger. I think that she's really, really talented. And the thing that really stood out to me is just how big of a star Liv Morgan has become as a heel. You know, you take
Yeah.
away Rhea from the equation, and Liv still felt like, yeah, she absolutely should be opening an episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that vibe too. You think she is like one of the big deals of women's wrestling and and WWE too. It's just like that 1-2 punch of her and Dom together really adds to it in the same kind of realm that Rhea and Dom had with one another. And I think she's really making the most of this opportunity that kind of like fell in her place, like when Rhea got hurt initially and everything like that, and just ran with it. And it's nice to see. And they're building some stars in the women's division. I think them potentially getting in the mix for the tag team championships, and hey, maybe even winning. I'm not necessarily against that because you can. That's a good act. I think you can have on both shows too, as Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. So. It'll be interesting, Robert. I thought it was a good choice for Io too, as well. I agree with you on that too.
My guess, my hunch, my theory here is we will not see Liv and Raquel win the tag titles
Hmm.
because this is an opportunity for Rhea, while healing, to interfere in some way, shape, or form to cost Liv that opportunity. I don't
Okay,
think
yeah.
that they want Liv to lose the Raw Women's title. I think they wanted to keep it until you can get to a proper Liv Rhea rematch. But you still need Rhea to get some sort of revenge, some sort of comeuppance. And I think you can utilize the tag titles in order to do that. I think that Jade and Bianca's tag team story will ultimately culminate in a one-on-one match with the two of them down the road, probably closer to WrestleMania. It's a little early to start breaking in that direction.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Absolutely. Next up, Robert, we had a little segment between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, where Xavier's tossing a lot of the onus onto Kofi. There's clearly tension going on there, and then it breaks into a Bo Dallas and Miz segment that we have too. But let's talk about that dynamic between Kofi and Xavier. You like where this is going? This has been for me for the past several months one of the most fascinating parts about Raw. I think is the breaking up of New Day, the slow break up.
It's a compelling story. I think the idea that eventually we are going to get some sort of a payoff, I've said repeatedly, I believe the payoff for this is going to be when it is the 10-year anniversary and Big E is there, not in a wrestling capacity, but just kind of as the big brother pulling these guys together and setting them on the right path. And then New Day win the tag titles and it's happy, happy, joy, joy for a little while. So we still need to be in this valley, not the John Moxley valley that
Hmm.
he was talking about. Hey, you're in the valley, and Renee is in the kitchen, making some tea. It's oolong. Anyway, legit conversations I've had with Renee Paquette about tea, making tea, and
Oh,
putting in instant hot taps. This is my life, and it's weird, but I think that you need to kind of continue to further this tension so that when they do reunite, everybody feels like it's paid off beautifully. And then that Miz Wyatt Six segment. Every time I want to bail on the Wyatt Six, every time I want to say I'm done with these guys, like it's fine, but they pull out a little chestnut like this, and it was the clip of Miz talking to Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel from 100 years ago. Great callback, absolutely loved it. I for just 1 second, Dom,
go
I
for
will
it.
let you talk.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think with the Wyatt Six and what they've been doing. And Bo Dallas mentioned this too in a previous interview. I want to say it was CBS Sports he spoke with, and he said there's bigger things to come for Wyatt Six, and he's really liking. Obviously, the faction is a tribute to his brother Bray, obviously, but he also mentioned how this is an opportunity for big character development and to get a highlight on some of these stars that didn't necessarily get to focus on. So I did not see this segment. My DVR did not tape all of Raw. So I had to go and watch the highlights on YouTube of some of this stuff. So they did not show this, so I didn't get to catch it. But I'm already seeing in the chat, hearing what Robert had to say. It sounds like really good stuff. And yes, I kind of been like they've cooled him off a little bit. Wyatt Six. Now they're kind of heating him back up with these like Easter eggs and cryptic messages and the callback that Robert mentioned. So
Love that
yes.
callback. Thought it
Mhm.
was great. Thought it's one of those things where it makes sense and that they have a long memory of things that occurred in the past, so that it doesn't feel totally haphazard. Now, I don't know if this was always the plan or they just stumbled upon remembering it. Either way,
Yeah, it's
absolutely
good.
remarkable.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
maybe
good
he
stuff.
gets Curtis Axel back on TV.
How great would that be?
I'm a big Joe Hennig fan, so
Me
yes.
too. Me too. Curtis Axel B team. I'm all for it.
And
Not
Curtis
necessarily.
Axel, by the way, could come back just in time for the Royal Rumble, which he was never eliminated from.
That's right. He's still going, guys. Longest streak in
Axelmania running wild.
Axelmania, brother. Hey, somebody who else will be running wild pretty soon again. Goldberg. He announced his retirement match.
Nope,
This.
nope, 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 no.
Mm,
I made
mm.
it known to World Wrestling Entertainment that I was not at all happy about their mentioning of the Florida Gators football game from this past weekend.
Oh,
It was
that's right.
unnecessary. It was emotionally abusive. I felt personally targeted and
Oh my.
attacked. I thought this was a safe space.
Wow.
It was not. And I commiserated with SmackDown commentator Byron Saxton, who
Mm.
also agreed. Yeah, we don't. No.
Does this
Um,
make you have more animosity towards Arn Anderson then? Because he's a big Bulldogs fan. Did you know that?
I did know that Arn Anderson's a big Bulldogs fan,
Mm.
but it's Arn.
Yes.
He's a kindly old man. He wears that sweater vest. He always looks like he's Winnie the Pooh right after he got out of being stuck in the tree. He's adorable.
Oh man, he's the enforcer. Boom. All right.
Relax. He knows not what he says. He's a simple man from Rome, Georgia. He worked in a grocery store and now has to talk to Paul Bromwell every week. So he's already got it pretty rough.
That
Um,
is rough. That is rough. I'll
but
give you
yeah,
that.
Goldberg will get a retirement match. They're saying, oh, maybe it's him against Gunther. I don't know, just because I don't see Goldberg willing to job in his retirement match.
Yeah, where the thing is for me. Like, I could see them having a match, but would that be his last match? Like, will he have just a retirement match later on? That's kind of what I'm interested in. I'm all for Goldberg though. I'm a big Goldberg mark, Robert. I am big time. Ron Ward, I do know what a Valley Girl is, as if. So there you go.
I didn't see
Uh,
what the comment was. So you were
he's asked.
talking, you were answering a question to a comment. So those of us who are listening to us on audio on
Oh, good
iTunes,
point.
Spotify, thank you for listening to us there on the audio every Monday through Friday. But Ron Ward said maybe we can get Dom to talk like a Valley Girl. Is he old enough to know what that is?
Scandalous. Sure
I
do.
think they were talking about Dominic Mysterio and not you.
Oh,
But either way, here we are. Thanks for grinding this show to a halt. Completely just unnecessary. But guys, if you want grinding that's going to come to a proper halt, our
hey,
next sponsor needs no introduction. You've
nope.
seen the ads. You've heard us talk about it a million times, and I bet there's a big part of you, pun intended, that wants to try it. What am I talking about? Blue Chew. That's right. This isn't your grandpa's blue pill. This is the one, the OG chewable tablet for better sex. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Blue Chew wants you to have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Guys, I have seen the polls, and half of you are probably going to need Blue Chew because you're already really, really happy and you want to knock it out of the park. The other half of you are going to be really down in the dumps. You're going to be looking for something that's going to give you a little bit of extra spark. But the good news is red, blue, it doesn't matter because Blue Chew wants the whole country rock hard. They told me that's their mission. They will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house, till every tent is pitched, till every rod is raised. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this election episode. I said election, not another word, of Rumor and Innuendo.
He just did that all on the fly, folks. Can you believe that? That's amazing.
It's
amazing. Hey, did you think New Day versus War Raiders was amazing? What did you think of that match there, Robert?
It was a physical match. I think that there was a tremendous job by the commentary team of differentiating the War Raiders from the Viking Raiders. They were talking about how these guys have a different philosophy. They have a different in-ring style. They've had to adapt. They're much more physical, much more hard-hitting. Graves and Cole really did their homework on this match, and it really, really enhanced it. You needed the War Raiders to go over because they are the number one contenders, that we need to pretend that they might be the ones to beat Judgment Day, while also further sowing those seeds of dissension with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston.
Yeah. I like War Raiders in this realm. I like a lot more than the Viking Raiders. It's just they felt snake bitten with that gimmick, unfortunately.
I didn't mind Ivar's singles run.
No, Ivar was great.
I think Ivar is such a unique looking guy, and he has such a tremendous versatility in his arsenal that he could be one of those upper mid card heels that they're currently working with, and it would make a lot of sense. You could also have him be an upper mid card baby. I think he'd be a good dancing partner with Braun Breaker, who has been conspicuously absent from Raw for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's true, and that's a good point. With Ivar, I can't remember if it was the Raw after Mania or the SmackDown before Mania, but I saw a dark match between him and Julius Creed, and it was the best match on the show. Like the two that they had went like 11 minutes. They turned the crowd to "This is awesome" chants and everything like that. So I'm with you on Ivar too. He's a good singles performer as well.
Think the world of that dude.
Hey, big segment here. We had Jimmy and Jey Uso come out, or Jey Uso came out at first. Well, Sammy did.
Oh, no. Let's, man.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The degree to which you could have screwed that up was absolutely remarkable, and you knocked it out of the park. This is why I have notes, and they're sitting right here. Sami Zayn comes out first, and this brings out Jey Uso, which ultimately brings out Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn hitting them with a little bit of a history lesson of, hey, Jimmy, you're the one that brought me in to the bloodline first, but also you were the one that turned on me first, and you're the one that turned on Jay first. And while it felt like old times when we were in the ring, I don't know that I can do this again and go through all the drama of the bloodline. And they implored him to come to SmackDown and talk to Roman Reigns this Friday.
Yeah. Did you like it, this segment, Robert?
So at Crown Jewel, they gave a lot of storyline in one match. We reunited Sammy with the bloodline. We saw Sammy take out the new bloodline. We then saw the errant kick and the tension. You couldn't pay it off on Raw on a taped episode. But at the same time, we all know everybody's there in Saudi. Right. So the idea of Jimmy and Jay having different views on what happened at Crown Jewel and then pulling it in and doing the Sami Uso thing and like, man, you really are family. I think they're really teeing up for what I've been saying for a very long time is going to be one hell of an emotional Sami Zayn heel turn at Survivor Series. So if that's where we're going, man, count me in.
I'm with you too, Robert. Like at first I didn't necessarily see that, but I think this kind of really added, like, you know, you think about what Jay said a couple weeks back saying, this is a family matter. And then he turns and ends up saying it this time. Maybe it's too little too late for Sammy in his mind. And he's got some vengeance on his mind when it comes to all that stuff. So I like it, Robert. And,
Thanks, Bane.
wait, what?
He was like Bane. I mean, vengeance, vengeance, dear
Vengeance
family.
is mine.
Vengeance for bloodline. Anyway,
Anywho,
enough about anarchy on election day. We've got to talk about Dragon Lee and Chad Gable. What'd you think of these two?
I couldn't see it. My DVR didn't tape Raw, so I only had to catch the highlights. When you went away, I told the audience that.
Oh, well, cool.
So.
Thanks for telling me in advance. In any of the last 6 hours of our group text, texting back and forth, you could have been like, "Hey, by the way." Either way, Gable and Dragon Lee. This is the beauty of this feud, of this American-made LWO feud, is the various pairings that you can get with these guys. And I think that Gable got maybe the best match we've seen out of Dragon Lee since Dragon Lee has been on the main roster. Chad Gable is that versatile. I'm excited for us to ultimately get a Chad Gable Rey Mysterio match. I think that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. The 6-man, 8-man iterations that we can get with these guys is also going to be really, really remarkable. So nice little sliver of a match to give the audience of a bigger storyline going forward. We also got another sliver of the potential Gunther Ludwig Kaiser tension, as Kaiser wanted to make excuses and call for the head of Cody, and Gunther's like, no, he won, but I will get my revenge. Okay, cool. It further makes me wish the finish at Crown Jewel had been different. I think if you're really teasing this idea that you're eventually going to separate Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, the fact that Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser lost on SmackDown because of Kaiser, I would have liked to have seen Kaiser overcompensate by helping Gunther cheat to win, and then Gunther being mad, I didn't need your help. I could have beaten Cody. You've tainted this very valuable Crown Jewel belt. They also revealed this coveted, beloved, most important thing in the world, Crown Jewel belt, will proudly housed in Riyadh at the WWE Experience there.
Unbelievable. I seriously thought they would take it with them and carry it to every show.
The plane can only hold so much weight.
That's a good point.
Speaking of weight, there was a lot of weight put onto the main event of this match. Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Sheamus for the number one contendership for the World Heavyweight title. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Dom and Priest last week. I thought that was a number one contender match.
That's what I thought too, right?
They did not make that clear. It felt like they were like, I'm trying to get Dom a title shot, so he beat a former world champion.
Right? That's like, because hey, I'm going to put you against a former world champion, and that was it, and he won. Very good point, Robert.
Baffling, but they managed to get the heat back on Bronson Reed, because now not only is he coming after Seth, he took out Sheamus, he took out Priest. Everybody's coming after Bronson Reed. Everyone's going to have to deal with Bronson Reed. It was a good way for Priest to get the win without really hurting anybody else. And Priest is a guy you can heat back up and feed to Gunther.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can definitely build Priest back up after the fact too, when it's all said and done, to give him a new direction and stuff. So,
well, no, we're not talking about a new direction. That's Blue Chew promo code rumor.
That's right. That's right, everyone. Hey, wanted to touch upon this a little bit. The Undertaker was on his podcast. Can you believe that? First, Robert. He addressed his comments and said about people take criticism personally. He also said that it bothered him to see wrestlers having passive-aggressive responses on social media. So this is what he said here, Robert. That's the big thing, especially with wrestling people and wrestling fans. Everything feels like if I criticize you about something publicly, it's a personal attack. That's how people see it. But really, it's not a personal attack. I'm giving my opinion on how I would have done it or what have worked for me. That doesn't make it the right way. It just makes it right for me. And then he said he further made clear that his remarks were meant to help pro wrestlers. And here's what he said. In wrestling, and maybe in general, if you criticize something or say something, people take it personally. Maybe soft wasn't the right choice of words. I was just starting to talk and come out of my shell then. I didn't realize how far Joe Rogan's podcast would reach or who would be watching. What killed me though was the passive aggressive tweets from the other wrestlers, like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" You need to get off Twitter and focus on why they're not drawing anything. But there I go again. Can't help myself. I love you guys, but when I offer critiques, people think I'm attacking them personally. It's just my opinion. I'm not trying to help. And I'm not trying to help. I'm not trying to do somebody. I don't know why the quote said it like that. I think he said, I'm trying to help.
I'm sure you accidentally copied True Classic in there at some point too.
It almost is there. It was right the next thing in line. But
All right.
Thoughts on that, Robert?
Undertaker is a respected legend. There is no question about that in terms of within the wrestling world and the opinion that the favor that he curries and that his opinion does carry weight. Where I think people were upset about it is when they hear the Undertaker saying these sorts of comments publicly. It was when he was on Joe Rogan's show talking about how soft the current product is, the current wrestlers are versus what he came up in. It doesn't help anybody other than getting Undertaker over and getting him some publicity. I say that because unlike other individuals, Undertaker can very easily go tomorrow to Raw or SmackDown or the Performance Center. He can hold a company-wide internal meeting and he can talk to them directly and say, "Hey, let me give you my expertise. Let me make this better for you. I am still a welcome legend here. I think that there's some issues that need to be talked about, and I am here for the betterment of the overall company, and I'm going to say it to you directly." When these folks go on podcasts and they criticize individual wrestlers, they criticize the product in general. I'll use Jim Cornette as an example.
Mhm.
Jim Cornette is absolutely brilliant. Jim Cornette is very much persona non grata in WWE and AEW.
Mhm.
So he is going to utilize the microphone that he has, the megaphone, the audience, to say what his opinions are and hope that people are listening. And obviously, there's enough references that CM Punk has made or Corey Graves has made. They do listen. Undertaker can bend the ear of anybody in that company directly anytime he wants. When you're doing it on a Joe Rogan podcast, you're doing it on your own podcast, it's for the betterment and the enjoyment of the audience. You're not really looking to improve the overall company. That's the thing that I think Undertaker is missing, and that's why folks got upset about it. It's like, look, if you want to criticize the product from the outside looking in, you can talk to us directly and you can make this better. But when you were an active wrestler, you hated when there were, Monday morning quarterbacks and folks taking these shots that they didn't need to take, and it makes it harder for you to have to go into work. So I think Undertaker right now is becoming a much more polarizing figure than he has been before, because you used to never hear from the Undertaker. He was a character and he was a respected backstage figure, and that's truly how he should have remained. I think there are some talents, some wrestling personalities that underestimate how important their persona and their image is. I remember years ago when Jim Ross's first book came out, I was talking with a wrestling figure who was disappointed because there's parts in Jim Ross's book where he's talking about recreational drug use beyond just marijuana, and they're embarrassing stories, and it's like, you're like the John Madden of the sport. You don't need to share those type of stories. It doesn't make your book that much more compelling, and if anything, it kind of taints you as this important figure.
Mhm.
Undertaker was one of those folks that really benefited over the years of being within wrestling a nonpartisan figure, where you didn't hear what Mark had to say. You only heard the Undertaker, and that was okay. I think I'll leave it on this from Alt Jake. There's a comment. Taker used to be my all-time favorite. Dot dot dot. Used to be.
Wow.
It's gonna happen. It's he has benefited more than say a Flair or a Hogan, who their actions over the last several years have brought a lot of question to their overall legacy. But guys whose legacies are very well preserved would include Mr. Rob Van Dam, Mr. Greg Gagne, Mr. Magnum TA, and also, since it's a special NXT on ECW week, Bill Alfonso.
That's right. Tonight, guys. Tonight, you can tune in live with me and Fonzie. We'll be going live around 8 p.m. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled on social media, on my social media. I'll make the announcement for the official time, and you can tune in live with Fonzie. He's been away for a couple months, so we're happy to get him back into the mix. Go to onetruesporttv.com and get ready to tune in live. Live. So, and yeah, like Robert mentioned, One of a Kind with RVD just posted a new episode yesterday. Rob talks about his little stint in NXT last week and maybe what's to come this week, in addition to thoughts on body shaming, a lot of different good stuff that Rob touches upon. So, and you can check out every new episode of Gagne and Magnum, Straight Talk with the Boss, on fourhorsemannetwork.com, or just type in Four Horseman Network on your podcast feed of choice. You'll get it right there. And hey, Robert, you guys working stiff Patreons, you got to look out for a new one coming up right after this.
Yes, Scott Chapman and I recorded an episode this morning where we went in depth on Crown Jewel. We went on depth on a lot. It was a free ranging conversation. It's part of the fun of the Patreon. We got into an MLW story I never thought I was ever going to tell. That was kind of interesting. We got into Scott's comedy wrestling comparisons and some of the folks that he's dealt with over the years. It's a little Andy Kaufman talk. It went all over the place. It was a blast. That's up on the Patreon for Working Stiff. And if you like when we were Wrestle Roasts on the Patreon, there are a ton of bonus roasts that we've done over the years that if you were not a subscriber, you've never heard. And they're all up there now. It's $5 a month. It's an absolute blast. What's also an absolute blast is being here theoretically every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ish X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, ad-free shows, and Working Stiff. So on behalf of the man showing way too much chest hair, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Go vote. Go vote. Jack Tunney.